What if you could make AI 1,000 times more efficient overnight? That's exactly what brain-based AI promises to deliver. In this video, I'm going to break down the 3 revolutionary advantages that are going to make current AI models obsolete. The third one is going to completely change how you think about artificial intelligence. I'm Evan Goldstein. I'm a licensed professional engineer and a data scientist. I'm building AI Capitalist to talk to the leaders and thinkers like you about how to thrive in this new world of intelligent machines. In 1979, Orlando Searle, a 10-year-old boy from Virginia, was playing baseball when a fly ball struck him hard on the left side of his head. Although he was dizzy and he was in pain, he continued playing, not realizing the profound transformation that was about to unfold. In the days following his injury, Searle developed an extraordinary ability. He could recall with perfect clarity the weather, the date, and his exact activities for every single day since the accident. Unlike most people who struggle to remember what they had for breakfast last week, Searle could instantly tell you it was 73 degrees and partly cloudy on any given Tuesday 30 years ago. He could describe in vivid detail what he wore, what he ate, and what he did that day. Despite having no prior indication of these capabilities, he'd become a human calendar, equipped with an almost supernatural ability for date and weather recall. Brain injuries like Searle's reveal something remarkable about neural architecture. The brain maintains careful barriers between its various processing centers. But when trauma disrupts these boundaries, the brain can rewire itself in unexpected ways. These new neural pathways can unlock latent abilities that lay dormant in most people. When trauma disrupts the usual barriers between different parts of the brain, it sometimes creates unexpected connections. In Orlando's case, the injury may have removed certain neural inhibitions, the brain's natural limiting factors that usually prevent information overload. This accident offers us a fascinating glimpse into how our brains naturally filter and manage information. Think of a brain like a computer with built-in firewalls. These firewalls normally keep different processes separate and running smoothly. But sometimes when these barriers are broken down, we discover capabilities that were always there, just hidden behind these protective walls. Orlando's story shows our brains might be capable of far more than we realize. They're just carefully regulated by inhibitory processes that keep us from being overwhelmed by information. Now, this is particularly relevant to think how, when we think about AI design, current AI systems try to process everything at once using massive amounts of energy, but our brains are different. They use sophisticated inhibition systems to process information much more efficiently. By studying cases like Orlando's, we can better understand how to build AI systems that use similar principles of controlled information flow and of efficient processing. It's a powerful demonstration of the brain's plasticity and its hidden potential, how damage can sometimes lead to enhancement, revealing capabilities we never knew existed. Inhibition, a crucial mechanism at the heart of the human brain function, enables us to step back from our surroundings and to deliberate before taking action. This suppression of neural circuits is not merely a feature, it's an essential resource management system that minimizes energy consumption, reduces noise, and it enhances signal clarity. It empowers our brains to organize complex thought processes seamlessly. Current AI models, including those powering ChatGPT, lack this vital component. Rather than processing information with the nuanced inhibition that's found in our brains, they rely on probabilistic predictions that they derive from extensive external data. As a result, these models become very power-hungry, cumbersome, and they're incapable of independent learning, which ultimately hinders their potential. But innovative brain-inspired AI models are emerging, and they're capturing some key elements of inhibition. These technologies aren't just more energy efficient, they're also adept at learning from data that they source directly from the real world. They possess remarkable ability to adapt without the need for constant human oversight and retraining. As the costs associated with training and executing artificial intelligence just continue to escalate, these new models are presenting a compelling and cost-effective solution to modern AI challenges. But with great power comes great responsibility. What framework will govern their behavior, as they grow more and more sophisticated. How are we going to ensure that we can keep control over their decisions? The time to engage with these questions is now if we're going to harness the true potential of advanced AI safely and ethically. So what's the AI energy problem here? Now, the energy-hungry transformer model dominates AI today, and it's powering nearly every major advance in generative AI. You should think of a transformer like a massive pattern-matching machine. When you ask it a question, it rapidly searches through enormous amounts of data, billions of web pages, books, and documents, looking for relevant patterns to construct its response. It's like having millions of highly organized librarians who can instantly scan through every book ever written to piece together an answer. Prominent leaders in the AI sector like OpenAI and Google's DeepMind and Anthropic are taking bold steps to advance transformer architecture, and they're passionately investing in its incredible potential to solve complex issues. Google has endorsed transformers, confidently asserting that with sufficient reasoning layers, these models could theoretically conquer almost any challenge. And this backing is reflecting the ambitious vision surrounding transformer technology, and it reinforces the widely held belief that it is the key to unlocking the full capabilities of AI. Now, the remarkable surge of investment in transformer models is driven by three pivotal factors reshaping the technology landscape. And if you feel that you're getting value from this video, I would encourage you to push the like button because it lets me know that I'm making content that you want to see and it helps spread it to others. Thank you. First and foremost, transformers have showcased unparalleled capacity for managing vast amounts of secondary data, like text, images, and video, that are sourced from diverse origins. And it makes these essential tools for critical applications like language modeling and for visual processing. Their extraordinary ability has made them irreplaceable in the high-stakes environments where performance is crucial. Secondly, the boom in AI financing is largely fueled by a decade of central bank stimulus that's flooding venture capitalists and corporations with funds that are eager for lucrative prospects. In a tech market that's struggled with true innovation lately, it's no wonder that investors are gravitating toward AI, with transformers leading the charge into the realm of new possibilities. And thirdly, the software industry saw a seismic shift in 2023 as the growth of software as a service stagnated with tightening budgets and the elongated sales cycles. Now, businesses are quickly pivoting toward automation that's driven by the transformative potential of AI models to not only enhance productivity, but also to replace certain job functions. The transformative power of the transformer model isn't without its challenges. It has enormous energy demands, and those raise significant concerns. There are projections that data centers are going to be responsible for consuming 21% of the world's electricity supply by 2030, which is enormous. Additionally, industry giants like Apple are sounding alarms with findings indicating that large language models may be nearing their performance limits. I've made an episode on how they made this discovery, and you can click here to see it. So this moment compels tech leaders to investigate alternative energy sources, including nuclear and even fusion, while pursuing innovations in model efficiency, quantization, and speed. The potential of quantum computing is also on the horizon as a promising solution. As the limitations surrounding transformer models become increasingly apparent, the market is primed for a shift towards more sustainable and efficient alternatives. So now is the time for innovators and tech investors to embrace new technologies that promise to redefine the AI landscape and pave the way for a more sustainable future. What is the secret to harnessing brain efficiency? Imagine listening to an orchestra in a concert hall. Your ears can only precisely tune into a very small portion of the music at any given moment, maybe the violins or the percussion. But your brain isn't satisfied with this narrow focus, so it constantly shifts its attention, sampling the different instruments and sections of the orchestra in rapid succession. Your auditory system spans an impressive range, and it's capable of detecting frequencies from the lowest bass rumble at 20 Hz to the highest piccolo notes at 20,000 Hz. The inner ear contains thousands of tiny hair cells that are arranged like piano keys from low to high frequencies. Some cells are specialized for detecting loud sounds and quick changes, and others are very good at picking up subtle harmonics and tonal vibrations and variations. The real magic happens in the brain's auditory cortex. You hear all these fragments of sound and the sharp attack of percussion, the sustained notes of the strings, and the bright tones of brass are woven together into a single rich musical experience. Your brain performs this remarkable feat of audio processing using minimal energy, creating seamless, unified perception from countless discrete inputs. If you could unfold the human neocortex, it would surprisingly cover an area about the size of a large cloth dinner napkin. Now, this thin, wrinkled outer layer of our brain is responsible for higher order functions like sensory perception and complex thought processes, and of motor control. It's only like 2.5 to 4 millimeters thick, which is about as thin as 2 stacked credit cards. But it houses 16 billion neurons, and it accounts for about 3/4 of our brain's volume. It's been suggested that the neocortex could mathematically be modeled in a uniform way. This was explained by the thousand brains theory of intelligence. Now, the thousand brains theory of intelligence introduces a fresh perspective on AI, and it's a little bit different from today's mainstream frameworks. It draws its inspiration from hierarchical temporal theory, which represents a new wave of brain-inspired methods that aim to replicate the remarkable efficiency of the human brain. The thousand brains theory of consciousness suggests that your brain doesn't just build one model of the whole world. Instead, it creates thousands of individual models that are all working together. So think of it like having thousands of tiny observers inside your brain. Each one looks at the world from a slightly different angle. Let's say you're holding a coffee mug. One model might focus on its shape, and another on its temperature, and yet another one on its texture. All of these models work together to give you a complete understanding of what a coffee mug is. This is very different from how computers typically process information. Hierarchical temporal memory, or HTM, is the foundation that helped build this theory. HTM tries to copy how layers of neurons in your brain process information over time. Imagine watching someone ride a bicycle. Your brain doesn't just see random images, it understands the pattern of movement. It predicts what should come next based on what it's seen before. What makes HTM special is that it learns patterns the way that your brain does. Traditional AI needs to see millions of examples to learn something new. Your brain, using HTM principles, can learn from just a few experiences. It's like how a child can recognize what a dog is after seeing only a few different dogs. Together, these theories help us understand how our brains can learn so efficiently with such little energy use. This is exactly what scientists want to recreate in the next generation of AI systems. Alongside other innovative concepts like neuromorphic computing, spiking neural networks, and deep predictive coding networks, Thousand Brains opens up exciting possibilities for a future where AI doesn't just process data, but it learns to function as efficiently as our own biology. So let's explore some of these other brain-inspired approaches that scientists are working on. Neuromorphic computing is like building computer chips that work the way that your brain does. Traditional computer chips process information in a steady stream, like water flowing through a pipe. Neuromorphic chips work more like your brain's neurons. They only activate when they're needed, and that makes them a lot more energy efficient. Spiking neural networks are on the software side of this approach. Regular AI processes information constantly like a light that's always on. But spiking neural networks work more like Christmas lights blinking on and off. Neurons in these networks only spike, activate, when they need to send information. Now, this is exactly how the neurons in your brain work. They stay quiet until they have something important to say. Deep predictive coding networks are built on a different idea about how your brain works. Your brain is constantly trying to predict what will happen next. When you're catching a ball, your brain predicts where it's going to land. If the prediction is wrong, your brain quickly updates its model. These networks work the same way. They make predictions about their input, and then they learn to correct their mistakes. What makes all these approaches special is how little energy they use. Your brain runs on about the same power as a dim light bulb, but you can do things that massive AI systems struggle with. By copying these different, efficient designs from nature, scientists hope to make AI systems that are both powerful and very energy efficient. It suggests that our brains learn by creating neurosensory maps, which help us build three-dimensional models of reality based on what we sense around us. Neurosensory maps are like detailed navigation systems in your brain. But instead of just showing streets and landmarks, these maps track everything you can sense about the world around you. Think of them as your brain's way of creating a complete user manual for everything that you encounter. Let's use a simple example. Think of your morning toast. Your brain creates multiple maps for that piece of toast. One map tracks its visual appearance, the golden brown color and the square shape. Another map follows how it feels, the crispy texture and the warm surface. Yet another map records its smell and taste. All these maps work together to give you a complete understanding of what toast is. These maps aren't like regular photographs or diagrams. They're active and they're constantly updating. When you turn the toast over, your maps instantly update to track its new position. When it cools down, your temperature map adjusts. If you add butter, your maps include this new information immediately. What makes these maps special is how they connect with each other. When you hear the toaster pop, your brain immediately activates all the maps associated with toast, what it should look like, smell like, and taste like. This is why just hearing that sound can make your mouth water. Your brain is already preparing for the experience based on its detailed maps. This mapping system is incredibly efficient. Instead of storing every single piece of toast you've ever seen, your brain creates flexible maps that can recognize and understand toast in any situation. This is the kind of efficient learning that scientists want to recreate in artificial intelligence. The neocortex, which is a key part of our brain, looks quite uniform when you consider its different functions. For instance, the areas involved in vision and touch and language share a similar structure. Now, this observation leads to the possible conclusion that there's a universal algorithm at play in all neocortical functions that revolve around something called the cortical column. Now, this structure consists of 6 layers of neurons stacked vertically, with each layer specializing in different processing tasks. Humans have about 120,000 of these columns, with each one containing about 100,000 neurons. How do cortical columns relate back to this theory? So each cortical column acts like a tiny independent processor, expertly capable of recognizing patterns and sequences. These columns don't just operate in isolation, they collaborate. Each identifies a pattern at different levels while maintaining selective communication. It means that one column connects with just a handful of others, rather than engaging with all of them. And this decentralized style is what allows our brains to construct a comprehensive understanding of the world, all without relying on a central command or with rigid maps. Instead, each column plays a vital role in processing sensory information through a method called predictive coding, which together helps to create our perception of reality. Think about holding a baseball for a moment. Now, out of thousands of cortical columns, it's only about 2% that become active, each one playing its part in capturing different sensations, touch, sight, sound. When these columns vote on what they see, they collectively weave together all of our experiences, forming a rich tapestry of perception. As the models based on brain functions continue to evolve and improve, the AI landscape today is experiencing a surge in investment. So this raises an interesting question: how much investment is too much? Can brain-based AI be controlled? A lot of the technology leaders who are developing AI today are excited about the idea that we can create intelligence using various materials by building mathematical models. They propose that by breaking down complex phenomena into smaller, easier to understand pieces, we can capture those exciting holistic properties that emerge from intricate systems. Now, this way of thinking offers a practical roadmap for simulating intelligent behavior. On the flip side, some people argue for a more holistic approach to design, suggesting that reductionist models may eventually hit the limits outlined by thinkers like Gödel and Pascal.
Let's break this down to understand why these ideas matter for artificial intelligence. Reductionist models try to understand complex concepts by breaking them into smaller and simpler pieces, like taking apart a watch to see how it works on the inside. Many of today's AI systems are built this way. They break down tasks into tiny steps that can be programmed into them. But great thinkers from the past warned us about relying too heavily on this approach. Kurt Gödel, who's a brilliant mathematician, proved that there are always truths in complex systems that cannot be proven using just logic and rules. Like, think about trying to explain love using only mathematics. Something important would be lost in the process. Now, Blaise Pascal, another remarkable thinker, argued that pure logic isn't enough to understand everything. He believed that some truths can only be grasped by looking at the whole picture. It's like trying to understand a painting. You can't fully appreciate it just by analyzing each individual brushstroke. You have to take it in as a whole. And this is where holistic design comes in. Instead of just breaking things down, it looks at how all the pieces work together. It's the difference between studying individual musical notes and understanding how they create a beautiful symphony. A holistic approach to artificial intelligence will consider not just how it processes information, but how it interacts with the world and understands context. Now think about how humans make decisions. We don't just use pure logic. We also rely on intuition, on experience, and on understanding context. This is what we mean by rationality having boundaries. Sometimes the most rational decision isn't the best one because we need to consider factors that cannot be reduced to simple rules. AI development, because we're trying to create systems that can think and understand like humans do, if we focus only on the reductionist approach, we might create AIs that are incredibly logical, but that lack deeper understanding that comes from seeing this bigger picture.
So rationality has its boundaries. And a lot of these thinkers are advocating for an AI design that incorporates a broader perspective, which can help guide rational decision-making, as a purely reductionist viewpoint might lead to unpredictable and unwanted results. Now, these two philosophical camps also reflect the natural divisions within our own brains. One side is all about reductionism and rational thought, while the other embraces a more holistic view. At first glance, this split system might seem trivial. After all, humans thrive on lively debate, and you might think that the most practical design will win out in the end. But, as a lot of us have seen, evaluating AI outputs can be tricky. With AI becoming more complex, understanding accuracy and bias can feel like navigating a labyrinth. This philosophical exploration is really important because it's going to influence how we create smarter systems, or systems that are smarter than ourselves, even. Before diving into how these perspectives will shape the future of AI, let's take a closer look at how each hemisphere of the human brain interprets the world and how that development came about. And we've journeyed through the remarkable potential of brain-based artificial intelligence, a technology that promises to transform our understanding of machine learning. What problems could we solve using brain-based AI learning? Brain-based models represent a revolutionary solution to three critical challenges faced by current AI systems. Number one is energy efficiency. Brain-based AI is 100 to 1,000 times more energy efficient. Brain-based models utilize decentralized, sparse processing and dramatically reduce energy consumption, paving the way for a sustainable digital future. Secondly, unlike traditional transformers that rely solely on static data sets, brain-based models can thrive on direct real-time interactions. This capability fosters a deeper, context-aware understanding of their environment, propelling AI into a new realm of dynamism and relevance. The third advantage of brain-based AI is that it can truly learn and adapt on its own. Supported by its primary data, brain-inspired models can have the ability to self-learn without the need for constant retraining. Transformers, on the other hand, depend on proxy sources and self-generated corrections. These confine their understanding to just pattern recognition rather than understanding genuine meaning. Once a system achieves true self-learning, the recursive learning process, so it's going over and over, can lead to the rapid emergence of highly advanced artificial intelligence. We've seen how these systems, inspired by the intricate architecture of our own minds, could operate 1,000 times more efficiently than current models. So like the story of Orlando Searle, whose injury revealed hidden capabilities of the human brain, these new approaches unlock possibilities that we're only beginning to grasp. But this is only the first chapter of our exploration. In our next episode, we're going to venture into even more fascinating territory, a profound division within our own minds. We'll discover how nature and its elegant wisdom created two distinct ways of understanding reality, and why this matters deeply for the future of artificial intelligence. We're going to meet the individuals whose surprising stories reveal truths about consciousness and identity, and we're going to explore why the path that we chose for AI development may be one of the most consequential decisions in human history. Until then, I encourage you to think. In our quest to create machines that think, what essential truths about intelligence might we be overlooking? The answer may surprise you, and it lies at the very structure of your own mind.